He claims to command a vast, untouchable billion-dollar empire. From a broke, starving kickboxer in the forgotten corners of England to the most aggressively searched name on the global internet, his meteoric rise looks like a calculated masterpiece, a blueprint of ultimate male success. But what if the savior of the hyper-masculine world isn't who he says he is? When you peel back the layers of the cigar smoke, the private jets, and the hyper-aggressive rants, you don't find a traditional corporate mastermind. Instead, you stumble into a dark labyrinth of manufactured internet drama, systemic legal wars, and a recent high-stakes physical gamble that shattered his invincible image in front of millions. Is he truly the ultimate alpha mastermind pulling the strings of the global algorithm? Or is he the internet's most volatile and dangerous illusion? If you want to expose the hidden truths, calculated scams, and geopolitical power plays behind the world's biggest corporate and financial figures, make sure to like this video right now, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends so you never miss a deep dive expose. Chapter 1. The Dark Blueprint, December 1st, 1986, Washington, D.C. Emory Andrew Tate III is born into an environment that didn't just teach warfare, it breathed it. His father, Emory Tate II, was far from an ordinary man. He was a highly decorated U.S. Air Force veteran, a legendary international chess master, and a brilliant military linguist who possessed an IQ in the top 1 percentile. Rumors and whispers have long swirled around his alleged operational ties to the Central Intelligence Agency. Andrew wasn't raised on cartoons or fairy tales. He was raised on a strict, almost sadistic diet of mental chess tactics and psychological warfare. His grandfather, Emory Tate Sr., had been a bare-knuckle boxer fighting across the state of Georgia, passing down raw violence through the bloodline. By age 4, Andrew was ranking second in county wrestling. By age 6, the young prodigy was sitting across tables from grown men, systematically breaking their minds and clearing chessboards. He was engineered to look at the world purely as a game of capturing pawns and destroying kings. But the structured discipline fractured violently in 1997. His parents divorced. In an instant, the affluent American upbringing vanished. Andrew, his brother Tristan, and their sister were uprooted by their mother Eileen and dragged to the gritty, unforgiving council estates of Luton, UK. Marooned in a system reliant on government benefits, the young American prodigy found himself an outsider in a harsh British environment. Without his father's presence, their mother signed the brothers up for a self-defense class to instill order. It was here they met Amir Subic, a battle-hardened Bosnian martial artist who had survived the horrors of his country's wars before opening Storm Gym in 1999. The gym became a crucible. Andrew possessed raw athletic talent, but talent didn't pay the bills. To survive, he worked a grueling minimum wage job at a local fish market, scaling fish for pennies while Tristan worked high stress, low-tier commission sales jobs just to afford the rent and fund their training gear. They were dangerous, highly disciplined, and completely, utterly broke. Chapter 2. Manufacturing the villain. As Andrew climbed the ranks of the European kickboxing circuit, he realized a brutal financial reality. In combat sports, pure skill gets you brain damage, personality gets you paid. The humble, hard-working fighter persona wasn't selling tickets, so Tate weaponized psychology. He shed his armor of humility and stepped directly into the role the entertainment industry thrives on, the ultimate villain. He began strategically crafting an arrogant, larger-than-life character. To pad his record and build a myth, he traveled across Europe competing in smaller, loosely sanctioned regional tournaments. The conditions were notorious, terrible venues, multiple high-risk fights crammed into a single day, and dangerous weight cuts that pushed his body to the brink. While he technically secured the title of a 4-time kickboxing world champion, critics pointed out a suspicious pattern. Many of the fighters he defeated had records that seemingly only existed on paper when facing him. Even with belts on his wall, the massive wealth he craved wasn't materializing. A chaotic stint on the UK's Big Brother reality show ended abruptly in a media firestorm over a leaked video, getting him thrown off the airwaves. Worse, A failed $70,000 property investment in Thailand left the brothers deeply in debt. Backed into a corner, Andrew locked himself in a room, analyzed his remaining assets, and noticed a booming, highly lucrative digital frontier, the webcam industry. This became the foundational engine of the Tate fortune. The brothers systematically scaled a webcam operation, managing over 75 women at its peak. The business model was predatory and highly effective, exploiting the loneliness of desperate men on the internet while taking massive cuts of the earnings. Tate boasted that the digital operation pulled in over $7 million, but operating in the legal gray areas of the internet inevitably draws attention. A storm of domestic complaints and trafficking allegations culminated in sudden police raids. Realizing the brand was becoming radioactive, Andrew handed the day-to-day operations to Tristan, pivoting his own focus toward commentating for Romanian MMA and quietly laundering his cash reserves into a highly profitable chain of addiction-driven slot machine casinos across Eastern Europe. Chapter 3. Weaponizing the Matrix. Then came the year 2020. The pandemic brought the physical world to a grinding halt. Lockdowns immediately choked the cash flow of Tate's physical casinos. Stuck inside his heavily fortified Romanian compound, he watched internet marketing gurus like Tai Lopez rake in millions selling digital dreams to people trapped at home. Tate realized that the ultimate gold rush wasn't in physical real estate or gambling halls, it was in human attention. He completely shifted his target audience. He abandoned the strategy of targeting lonely, middle-aged men and focused on a far more volatile, impressionable, and hyper-reactive demographic: young, isolated, and economically desperate young men. He designed a modern digital pseudo-cult. He created a colossal, invisible enemy and omnipresent, oppressive system he dubbed the Matrix. And convenient for him, he sold the exact escape hatch, a $50 a month digital academy originally named Hustlers University, later rebranded as The Real World. The distribution model was a masterpiece of predatory affiliate marketing. Tate built a literal digital pyramid scheme. Instead of paying for traditional corporate advertising, he forced his thousands of students to become his marketing army. The system provided them with pre-cut, highly controversial audio clips and editing guides. Thousands of accounts began spamming TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts simultaneously, hijacking the platform's algorithms. Every time a doom-scrolling teenager clicked an affiliate link to join the academy, the student got a cut, and Tate got richer. At its absolute zenith, The Real World was generating a jaw-grabbing $11 million every single month purely on recurring monthly subscriptions. Simultaneously, he established the War Room, an exclusive, high-ticket Telegram mastermind network where older, wealthier men paid thousands of dollars just to network and live a fraction of the cinematic Tate lifestyle. He had successfully monetized global outrage. Chapter 4. The fraud check, but when you fly too close to the sun on wings made of controversy, the burn is catastrophic. By mid-2022, the mainstream corporate tech giants decided Tate was too dangerous for their platforms. In a coordinated, unprecedented sweep, Meta, YouTube, and TikTok permanently terminated his accounts overnight, erasing his direct access to billions of viewers. Months later, the hammer dropped. Romanian anti-organized crime prosecutors smashed through his compound doors, arresting the brothers under heavy indictments of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized criminal group. The global empire instantly stalled, confined to extended house arrest. The viral clipping army that fueled his financial funnel slowly starved of new content and disintegrated. Tate was forced to retreat to the alternative spaces of X and Rumble, shouting into ideological echo chambers while his broad mainstream relevance evaporated day by day. The world was experiencing outrage fatigue. The hype was dying. Desperate to engineer a massive, undeniable mainstream comeback, Tate turned back to combat sports. In late 2025, he shock headlined a massive crossover event with Misfits Boxing in Dubai, boldly positioning himself as the new de facto CEO of the promotion after a highly publicized corporate feud with YouTube star Kessie. He signed to fight reigning influencer heavyweight champion Chase Dimore on December 20th, 2025 to bankroll the massive production. Tate partnered heavily with an online crypto casino, a financial move that immediately triggered severe backlash from his own community for entirely contradicting his highly vocal public conversion to Islam. The narrative was set for the ultimate alpha redemption story. Instead, it became the most public fraud check of the decade. Over 6 grueling, painful rounds, the 39-year-old former kickboxer looked completely sluggish, severely outconditioned, and technically lost inside a traditional boxing ring. Rocked repeatedly by Dimore's relentless pressure and caught by a massive, staggering 5th-round uppercut, Tate barely survived to see the final bell, only to suffer a humiliating majority decision defeat. The myth of the invincible, untouchable combat god dissolved on global television. Chapter 5. The Ebbing Tide. By the arrival of 2026, the cracks in the Top G armor had grown too wide to cover up with internet memes. The defeat in the ring had proved he could be beaten physically, and the legal system was proving he could be trapped systematically. In a desperate, highly erratic attempt to reclaim his anti-establishment, dangerous persona, Tate took advantage of relaxed Romanian travel terms and fled to Moscow, Russia. He appeared at a state-backed economic forum, filming himself firing high-caliber weapons and riding tanks alongside the Russian military in a blatant bid to frame himself as a geopolitical rebel fleeing Western persecution. But the internet algorithm is a cold master. Once the shock value turns into repetitive background noise, it stops promoting you. His aggressive demands for an immediate rematch clause against Chase Dimore were met not with global hype, but with widespread internet mockery and memes. Back in the UK, the British High Court and international prosecutors continue to methodically process heavy legal appeals and outstanding extradition warrants regarding severe corporate tax evasion and assault charges, openly branding the Tate financial operations as highly volatile. Andrew Tate successfully proved to the world that you could weaponize human outrage, exploit digital algorithms, and build a multi-million-dollar empire practically overnight out of thin air. But as the international legal net tightens, his core audience matures, and the invincible persona fades into history. His legacy leaves behind a stark, definitive warning for the digital age. A kingdom built entirely on the shifting sands of internet outrage can vanish just as fast as it was created. What do you think? Was the Tate Empire a stroke of genius, or just the ultimate modern scam? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next deep dive.